Hi everyone, this is Eric with Lubbockcomservices.com, coming at you with a video about more advanced form design. So in the previous video you may have seen just some basic concepts about forms. Today's video we're about creating a form with a wizard. Today's video is more advanced. We're talking about creating a form in design view, using the control box, the properties, positioning controls on the grid, sizing and arranging, adding label, and printing a form object. That's some of the items that you will learn in this here video. And so I am going to show you now the fancy dancy. Okay, this is our database. It's real simple, and of course you could use these. I'm just using this as an example. You'll probably look at your own database and have other ideas, but the table is the only form. It's the only place that data is stored. A form is used as an entry point, and we can use forms to control user entries. Okay, so rather than seeing all these fields, most backend administrators don't want you to interact with the tables, and so they'll create, like in this case, queries. We can create a query, create query design, and create a query just with like two fields, and then or views. They'll give you views that you can access a view of the information. So we just have access to these two fields, and you can base a form just upon a query if you want. Okay, so they give you a certain view of the data. That's what most database administrators do. But we're using this for example purposes. So anyway, to create a form in design view, which I'd recommend, we do in the previous video. If you want to create fast forms, use the form wizard, and again, bang, it's basically done. It's done for you form. Okay, so that's a form wizard, and it adds a nice little label here, a little caption, and so it does it all for you. So that's nice. But in my opinion, I'd like more control over it, and so I go ahead and use the form design, and that allows me to create a form in design view and add my own controls, and that's the purpose of this video here. So form, okay, now I've created, now this is the grid here. Okay, it has nothing on it. So it's really a blank form, and it really is the same thing as if you would do a blank form. Okay, you create a blank form. Here you're starting with the skeleton. Here we're starting with design view. We have design view and the skin view. So this is like the skeleton view. And like I said earlier in previous videos, we have different views. We always have, like in a database, we always have a under the hood view, a skeleton view, and then the cosmetic view. I like the car analogy better. So we have the under the hood view, this view, and then we have the outside of the vehicle, what the vehicle actually looks like. So in our case, we have a design view. We have a ruler here on the left side, a ruler here on the right side, or going horizontally, and a ruler going vertically. We have no, and then we have, this is our grid. It's like our blank canvas, if we're using terms of a painter. So it's a blank canvas. And if we look at this, just it's nothing. So if I click on home and view, bang, a lot of nothing. So just what I said. So design view. Okay, so now we're going to add fields to it. So we come up here to add existing fields, and we have no record source, so we have to select that first. What is this form going to look at? Well, it's going to look at donor information. So here I have I double click to bring up the property sheet, or I can click on property sheet, and then hang on while I pause it. Anyway, the volume was disturbing. I just heard some background noise. So, where was I? This brings up the property sheet, and I can add a record source here, TVL donors, and now the next step is to add fields. So here I'm going to add my donor field. I just click on it and drag it to the top. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and save it, just in case something does happen. At least I know where I can start at. I have a starting point. So I'm pressing Control S, and that says Save As, or I go here and I can do File, Save, and it's the same box, FRM Donors. Okay. So now notice how my donors pops up in this list on the side. I have all access objects. How do I get that? Well, I go down here. I can see just my forms. I can see just my tables. I can see all my access objects. So this is really a view I like. All access objects, because it allows me to see everything in my and you may have databases that have this full of stuff. You may want to group things. Okay, we don't. We just have two simple things, and that's kind of good for our example. If you lose this, the control box or the add field box, go up here and add existing fields. Okay, now I can select multiples by using, I could select the whole thing by clicking. It's all gone. Okay. So I closed the wrong thing. So I can click on, well, I don't want to double click it. So because they can give me erratic behavior, but I can click on the first one and click and hold down my shift key and click on the last one, last field, and drag them all to the table. Drag them all to the canvas, the grid. Okay, or if I wanted to select individual ones like F name and address and state, I could just hold down my control key. I can select what I want and drag to the grid. Okay, and then to delete, I just click on it and press delete and press blank. Press delete and it's gone. Okay. So I'm adding all my fields here. I'm dragging them and dropping them somewhere. Now I would recommend that you put them in the middle. It's because you put them over here on the side, it squunches them together, and that's more work. So I like to go ahead and put these on the front, in the middle, somewhere in the middle like this. Again, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below the video here. Okay, so each control, and I'm just focusing on one particular control right now. We have one particular control, and I have these little sizing handles around the control. I have these little bitty squares. If I click on it, I get little bitty squares. I have a label. A label comes with a text box. So it has it's together. I mean, if you bring out one control, it consists of a label and a text box. Use the fat square to move the label around and to move the text box independently of each other. If I just go ahead and click on the screen on the control, it moves both the label and the text box. If I want to resize, I can use those little bitty sizing handles on the perimeter of the box here of the control to drag and make it bigger, excuse me, or make it a little smaller. Sometimes you'll get out of whack. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with it? Well, if you double click on it, it'll resize it automatically for you. And then I could use the arrowhead, the big square at the top left hand corner, to move that back up again. So a lot of this takes some practice. If I move these around, pretty much if you, okay, to let's say you want to align these, you pull them all out one by one. You say, oh my gosh, I have all these I got to align. Well, a quick way to do this is by a quick way to select all these is by selecting using the control key, and then you can select multiples. Or you could select one and then hold in your shift key and it does nothing. Or you could hold on your mouse and it'll lasso everything. Okay, it'll lasso everything in its path. So it lasso these labels. If I want to align all these to the right, I don't really want to lasso the labels. And so I am going to hold down my control key and unselect these. Now to align these up to the right, I go to Arrange, Align, and Right. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with these, with the labels. Here I'm going to lasso all these, and I'm going to do Align to Right. And I want these to be equal in space. So I can lasso all these and choose size space, and then what is this? Equal horizontal, equal vertical. I can use my equal. Maybe I don't know if I face it in the way. Let me move it over here. So say size space equal vertical, and it looks pretty good. This donor ID is it's bigger than the rest, so I want to make them all the same. So format size to widest. And now I want again align right. Okay, that's good. If I want to move these, which I do, take these and move them around. Okay, great. Now I'm going to save my changes. Click the little save button and home. And here I have my new form. Okay, so great. Now, one of the last two things is adding a label here, and pretty much you want a label on the top, have the page title. So what I like to do, one thing you can do is go up here to yeah, probably the best thing is to do this, and then I select a title. select the title, and that allows me to do a form header here. Okay, and that inputs a FRM donors on every, like if I look at every record, that's my title, FRM donors, with a nice blue background. Well, if I don't really like that, which I don't, I can delete this, and I can look at my properties box here. Let me move my face out of the way. I can look at the background here, format header, the back color right now. Notice how I click on the sections and I get different properties for the sections. If I want that, if I want just some plain, if I want this gray color, I can say I want that color, so I just highlight it. I want to make it background 1, and Control C, and I click up here, and I see I want Control C. Okay, then I can add my little, I can click on the control I want to add, and highlight, and then with the label, you better start typing somewhere else. If you click off, it's gone. Text box, you can click and it actually stays there. Okay, click somewhere else, but if you're doing that, a label, at least type something in there, like an A. That's nonsensical, but let's say donors. And then I'm going to make it, I'm going to change the font of this. Actually, I'm not going to use that, but let's say I click on the format button, and I click and I make this a little bit bigger, like 20, and I make it red. And I have this format painter on, and then I double click on it to make it fit. It's like an auto fit, kind of like in Excel. And I'm moving that over here a bit. Save. So here are my donors again. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And you'll probably hopefully you get ideas to use in your own forms, because you're going to have your own database that you're working with. Okay. And now that's good. Okay, if you decide to print this, you're going to print up all 33 records, which is probably not going to be good, especially if you have like thousands of records. You don't want to print up and use up a whole ream of paper, kill a whole tree for it. Here I did a print, but I'm not going to use my printer here. I'm going to use, better off using printing to a PDF, because it allows you to see what you're about to print and watch it. I have 33 records I'm going to print, and that's not going to be good. Well, don't want that. Now let's see. Print. Print preview. Okay. Here's my it's a lot of records here. It's printing them up in continuous form view, and that's not good. Let's see, what is my, so I have a single form here, and I want to file and print You're probably going to read out on the screen here. Multiple pages. I could use my size. Close print preview. take off the record source if you're wanting to print one record. I'm getting rid of this. So afterwards, if I just want, let's say I wanted to save this as save as, and let's say save as print. If you want to fill out, like if you have a if you're in a doctor's office and need to print and need to have a form that they can fill out, it makes it easier for data entry. So file, print preview, and here we have that. We just can take out the, you have the names, but you could either take out the control source for these fields, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the last part of this video here. These control sources are bad. They're causing the names. You really don't want that for your. Oh, and another way you could do these real fast is by lassoing them and taking out the control source. And it's better to do this before they're all changed, so you don't have to keep typing this part. But it changes all these unbound. Now if I go file and print, still doing it. Let's see. Oh, I think I changed it. I didn't change the control, so I changed the name of it. Let's go back again. And okay, so now print preview. Yeah, now we got it. Okay, good. And it's one page, so we're good to go. Yeah, I did know what the field unbound was, so we took that out altogether. We just got rid of it. So now you have a form you can print, and so you can print this up. So hopefully you got a lot out of that. Again, come down to, if you want some more advanced features and want to program and learn the programming, come at to vbahowto.com. You learned about, hopefully you got out of this video, how to create a form in design view, control box properties, positioning controls on a grid, sizing and arranging, or adding a label and printing a form object. So I've been your host, Eric, and if you need some help, come out to localcomservices.com. Also like and subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.